it is a beautiful, and I mean beautiful, day and Thursday afternoon here, right here outside the War Room of Pigskin Frenzy. It's beautiful in Central Illinois. Hopefully it's beautiful where you are. I am so fired up to talk about more spring outlooks and more spring football because today we have 4 Big 12 teams on tap. We got Arizona State. We have BYU, UCF, and Colorado on tap. Back to the Power 4 after a preview of a little bit of the top teams of the Group of 5. We are back in the Power 4, and we're talking about some Big 12 contenders who can make a statement in the spring, but heading into the 2025 college football season. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Podbean, listening on Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. Exit Instagram at pigskin_frenzy. Follow, like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates, news, and highlights from across college football. There's trivia posts on Instagram stories going into today's college football question, as well as all things of today and exclusive content from Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, the website's www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. There you will find all things of today for Pigskin Frenzy. More about me as your podcast host. There's a home and about me page. You can contact me down below there. Name, email, question. I'll answer it on air or off air if need be. There is a platforms page. All the platforms I just mentioned, go and click on which one's your favorite listening style of the show. Affiliations in store. More on that coming soon as we continue to regularly update the website for Pigskin Frenzy. That is www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. A little bit of a quick intro, just shot right there. College football day, and we are ready to continue our spring outlook series and our spring football coverage. About a month and a half's worth of more content coming for you for spring football and who we want to see and what we want to see from teams. We're doing all 4 Big 12 teams because this is an interesting conference. Big 12 was an interesting conference last year. We had the Big 12 champion, Arizona State, a team that we really didn't expect to, make it. And we had them dead last in our conference standing projections. Then you had Colorado, BYU, teams that were really, really good. Did not expect them to be that fantastic, but they were. And then we had UCF, who was kind of in the middle of the pack of the Big 12, but they could be on the rise once again with their next head coach, and they're back as their head coach. And we're going to talk about that later here in a little bit. We talked about the Group of 5 last episode. Go and listen to that. And we're going to, that's episode 208. And we're going to talk about 209 right here on episode 209, the Big 12. We have also an idea, and that was brought to our attention from Colorado head coach Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. He brought up an idea about spring football and spring games and the future of spring games, and we're going to discuss our thoughts on it at the end of this episode after we talk about Colorado's spring outlook. Let's just dive right into it without any further ado here on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Let's talk about our spring outlooks, and let's kick it off with Arizona State, the defending Big 12 champion who went to the college football playoff last year. Number one, we didn't expect them to be where they were, okay? We knew that they had some talent, but we didn't expect them to be that talented to the point where in Kenny Dillingham's second season as Arizona State head coach, he ends up bringing his alma mater to the college football playoff, to the quarterfinal, and they almost won. They almost upset Texas to go to the semifinal and go to the Cotton Bowl against the winner of Ohio State, Oregon. Crazy, crazy stuff. And now they are back and ready to go for the 2025 season and this spring. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with Arizona State in the Big 12. I'm curious. I'm excited. I'm ready to see what's going to go down, and I'm really ready to see what's going to happen there. We have Arizona State, who was obviously a team that we didn't expect them to do anything. At first, they won, and then they won some more, and then they kind of lost here and there, and then they lost some more. And then all of a sudden, they beat Utah, and we're thinking, okay, they look really, really good beating Utah. Let's see what they do against Kansas State. They blew out Kansas State and blew them out of the water. You're thinking, okay, they're starting to become a threat. And then let's see what happens against BYU. They blew BYU out in the first half, and then BYU ended up coming back, but BYU still lost. They beat a legitimate contender in BYU, and you're like, okay, this team's a legit threat. And then they started winning some more, and then they made it to the Big 12 championship, and you're wondering, how did this happen? It's called coaching, and it's called bringing talent in together and believing. They believed in Coach Kenny Dillingham. He believed in his football team and his program, and they were solid. They played Iowa State in the Big 12 championship. They won the Big 12 championship, had a bye in the college football playoff, and ended up going to play Texas and almost upsetting Texas later in the second half. Went to double overtime and lost to Texas in double overtime. Huge season for them. Let's see if they can replicate that going into the 2025 season. There's a lot of questions that I got for this team, and it's going to result in our spring outlooks heading into the spring and heading into the 2025 season. Arizona State is a team that is most likely going to be at the top of the food chain heading into the Big 12, and it's going to be a huge difference in where I had them in my conference standing projections last season and coming up in June. So let me just go on and tell you something. It's going to be a huge difference coming up in June on where I have them. So just a spoiler, kind of not really a spoiler, but foreshadow on that. Without any further ado, let's talk about Arizona State and their spring outlook. Just got to give you diving deep into Arizona State really quick there. Head coach Kenny Dillingham is back, along with offensive coordinator Marcus Arroyo, defensive coordinator Brian Ward at the helm as well, all back for the Arizona State Sun Devils. They have a spring Fan Fest. There's a little bit of a different type of scrimmage, but Spring Fan Fest on April 25th. Not really a legit spring game, but it's a Spring Fan Fest on April 25th. It's on a Friday, last Friday before we enter May. Arizona State has that, and they are in spring practice currently right now. So number one, what I want to see from Arizona State is the development and the leap of Sam Leavitt. Returning quarterback number 10, Sam Leavitt, will be at the helm once again, coming back for the Sun Devils. What I want to see, it's kind of like what I said about Luke Altmaier on last Thursday's episode on Pigskin Frenzy, episode 207 or on 209. Luke Altmaier, I said I want him to see if he can take that championship leap to being a championship-level quarterback. Can Sam Leavitt do just that? He's on a lot of people's boards of being a top 10 quarterback in college football. Can he show that development? Now, I think that he did that in a lot of games. They won a lot of games because of him. I'm not saying that. But take it beyond further. Let him be the difference maker. Cam Skattebo was the difference maker in a lot of games. Cam Skattebo's not there. Is he going to be that championship-level quarterback heading into the 2025 season? And I want to see it come this spring. Take that championship-level leap. That's what I want to see from Sam Leavitt as Arizona State starting quarterback. The development of Sam Leavitt and taking him to that next level as a championship-level quarterback. He was a championship quarterback already in the Big 12 title game. Cam Skattebo was a huge reason, along with Xavier Guillory. They were all both two big reasons why they won the game. Sam Leavitt played really well, and he was a reason, don't get me wrong, but I want to see if he can shoot to the moon and be, I'm not saying win the Heisman. I'm not saying all of that, but take that championship level of him being the difference maker and a game changer at quarterback. That's what I want to see, and that's number one on my spring outlook for Arizona State. Number two, Kanye Udoh is the starting running back for Arizona State, the transfer from Army. There is no doubt about that. I would make him running back number one heading into the spring. That's number one. What's the depth behind him? That's what I want to see. The depth behind Kanye Udoh from Arizona State. That's what I want to see. Who are the running back depth behind him? I think he's a solid running back choice, and he will be the starting running back for this team coming off of Army. He is a good replacement. Well, I wouldn't say it's harder to replace Cam Skattebo, but he is a solid replacement for Cam Skattebo. So, who replaces Skattebo? That is the main question there, right? Who replaces Skattebo? That's probably, the number one option with Kanye Udoh, but who is the depth behind that? Raleek Brown could be Kyson Brown and Jason Brown, the trio of Browns at running back. It's a deep running back room. Kanye Udoh will be that starting running back, but what's the depth behind the running back position going to look like with the Brown trio? There's also Alton McCaskill. He could be a factor in there as well when fully healthy. He was a true freshman at Houston. He's a transfer now, but those running backs could add to some of that depth, right, behind Kanye Udoh at running back. So what's the depth of the running back room going to look like behind Kanye, and what's it going to look like heading in to the spring and the 2025 college football season for Arizona State? So that's number 2 in our spring outlook on Arizona State there, on what we want to see there. Number 3, and this is a good one, number 3, special teams. Special teams, and you're going to think that's an interesting one, but Arizona State had some kicking troubles last year. Can it be resolved in the spring heading into the 2025 season? They had some special teams woes. So can the kicking issue be resolved for Arizona State? That is number 3, what I want to see in the spring for Arizona State. Now, they went 5-2 in games decided by 8 points and fewer last season. And as a stat, all credit goes to AZ Central news site there. That's all credit goes to them. Also, they have Eastern Michigan transfer Jesus Gomez brought in to probably help out on that issue. He could be the starting kicker heading into the spring in the 2025 season. Can they have a remedy for that issue with Jesus Gomez? Can they resolve that issue at kicker? Because it isn't going to... If they are in close games, kicking is going to come down to be an important factor for the Sun Devils team. Can they have a special teams revelation and resolved issue there in the spring? It's a huge issue that was happening last year during the year. Can they resolve it for the 2025 season and in this spring? So that's number 3, and that's what I want to see out of the spring, and that's my spring outlook on Arizona State. So to recap the spring outlook, here's what I want to see. Number 1, the development of taking that championship level leap for Sam Leavitt. That's what I want to see. That's number 1 for Arizona State. Number 2, what I want to see also is the running back depth behind Kanye Udoh. The depth there, what's that going to look like? How is everything going to go there? That's number 2. And number 3, I want to see the special teams resolved. I want to see the kicking game resolved. I want to see if Jesus Gomez can be the truth at the kicking position for them. April 25th is their Spring Fan Fest, a kind of a different look for them in spring this year. Not really an official spring game, but it's a fan fest for the Arizona State Sun Devils to come out and see. They're having spring practice now. It's for fans to come out and see their Sun Devils and see how they're going to look and get a good look at them ahead of the 2025 season. That is April 25th. Go out and support Arizona State at their fan fest. That's Arizona State spring outlook. Let's talk about another team that came close to going to the Big 12 championship, but fell so short, and that's the BYU Cougars. And it is a team that, in my opinion, I thought that as the season went on, and I said this when we were doing our Frenzy's top 50 games of the 2024 season, that BYU is a team that was winning and winning and winning, and then they ended up getting closer to losing a game, and then it gets closer and closer, like, oh, y'all should have lost that one. Oh, you should have lost that one. That was close. And then they finally just lose, right? You always get those teams every year in college football. BYU was one of those teams. They lost games, and they won games that they probably should have lost, and then finally it just the wheels just fell off, and then they lost to Kansas, Arizona State, so forth. So BYU is a team that is a solid football team, and they blew out teams like Kansas State, and they beat Utah and beat teams that I thought that were going to be in the Big 12 championship. They got some key games this year that I want to see, Iowa State being one of them. I want to see what they do ahead of everything there for for the season, right? I want to see what BYU is going to look like, and I want to see what's going to happen there. So BYU head coach, excuse me, as I try to get all my notes resolved here. BYU head coach Kalani Sitake, offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick, and defensive coordinator Jay Hill. He is also the associate head coach as well. So Kalani Sitake is back. Offensive coordinator Aaron Rodgers is back, along with defensive coordinator Jay Hill. They have no spring game. They have an alumni game. And then after that, their final spring practice is on March 29th. So pretty much their final spring practice is this coming up Saturday. So they end their spring football early, and they have it this coming up there. They're having spring practice, and we're going to have spring results, but here's what I want to see from the remainder of their spring heading into the 2025 season. For the conclusion of this spring, here's what I want to see for this BYU team. At the give and take spring scrimmage, they did really, really well. I want to see, and this is just for me, because we already know that Jake Retzlaff is going to be their starting quarterback heading into the 2025 season. So who backs him up as a backup? What's the backup competition going to look like? That's number one spring outlook for me at BYU. You got McKay Hillstead, who could come in as a viable option in case anything happens to Jake Retzlaff. But you also got Trayson Burgett, who's been the redshirt junior. They were splitting second and third team reps. What's going to happen there for BYU in case Jake Retzlaff gets hurt? Can you trust one of those two guys to step in and take over? That's number one, and that's the spring outlook for them that I want to see kind of, there, right? So, number one there, what's going to happen? What's going to happen there for the backups for BYU? Number two, for what I want to see out of BYU, I want to see if some of these younger players can step up. Some of these younger players can step up for this team this year, and which younger player is going to make an impact for the Cougars this year? You got guys, like Tate Nakua at wide receiver, 6'2". Any relation? Hint, hint. You got guys like him at receiver. You got guys like Therian Alexander III at sophomore quarterback, 6'2", 170 pounds out of Ellenwood, Georgia. You got guys... you have guys like redshirt sophomore JoJo Phillips at wide receiver, 6'5", 205 pounds out of Lancaster, California. Some of these younger guys can step up, and I want to see which younger guy steps up and makes an immediate impact this spring heading in to the 2025 season. So that's number two for me for BYU and what I want to see out of the Cougars. Number three, I want to see what their mindset is like. I want to see how their mindset and how mentally they're prepared heading into the 2025 season. Last year, they were really, really good in the Big 12, and they could have gone all the way to represent them in the playoffs. Can they change everything and have a positive mindset heading into the spring and heading into the 2025 season to be like, okay, we can do this? I want to see what their mindset is like after last season and after making it to the Alamo Bowl and coming off of an impressive win against Colorado in the Alamo Bowl. Can BYU have that mindset of being like, okay, we're ready to take it to the next level, go all the way with it, win the Big 12 title, and go to the college ball playoff? I want to see what their mindset's like in this spring and heading into the 2025 season as they conclude spring practice. So that's my spring outlook on BYU and what I want to see out of them. Number one, what's the backup quarterback competition going to look like? Between Trayson Burgett and McCray Hillstead, that's what I want to see. Number two, what's the younger players going to do? What immediate impact are the younger players going to make for this Cougars team? That's number two. And then number three, what's their mindset going to look like heading in to the season and heading in to the spring and conclusion of the spring now? So that's what I want to see out of the BYU Cougars heading into the 2025 season after this spring. Their practice concludes Saturday, March 29th. We're going to have our spring results on Arizona State and BYU and the other two teams we're going to mention here in a little bit later on after the April 10th episode. Our last Spring Outlook episode is April 10th. You're not going to want to miss it. April 10th is our last Spring Outlook episode. We'll have them for the next couple of weeks. And then April 10th, after that, which is the episode after, we will have our spring results starting out. So we will have that in the next few weeks and the results on BYU from their spring football camp. Okay, moving on. Let's go with our last two teams who are both in the Big 12. And an interesting one, the UCF Knights. The reason why I wanted to do UCF because I'm very and highly encouraged by Central Florida heading into the 2025 season. Gus Malzahn is gone. He is out. He is now the offensive coordinator for Florida State. He is the OC. going from the Big 12 to the ACC as a head coach from an OC. It worked out well for Chip Kelly. Let's see if it works out for Gus Malzahn. But enters new head coach and now, old head coach, Scott Frost. He is back at the helm as UCF's head football coach in his second stint. He was the head coach from 2016, 2017 to 2018, and then he went to be the head coach of Nebraska, his alma mater. He is back as UCF's head coach in the Big 12. They were in the Group of Five, and they were in the American Conference. Let's see what happens with Scott Frost there. Let's see how he does heading into the spring, heading into the 2025 season. UCF kind of had a mixed season last year, but let's see if Scott Frost can change everything and bring back UCF to where they once were, how they were in the American Conference and in the Group of Five, but if he can do it at the Power 4 level in the Big 12. UCF, their spring practice concludes on April 19th. Their spring concludes on April 19th. They don't really have a spring game, but they will have two practices where fans can attend. Their final spring practice concludes on April 19th. Head coach Scott Frost, he is back with offensive coordinator Steve Cooper and defensive coordinator Alex Grinch, which is going to be an outlook for me and what I'm curious to see there. Alex Grinch is the new defensive coordinator at UCF. I'm kind of curious to see how that move is going to shape up in the Big 12. He's back in the Big 12, but now with UCF. That's the coaching staff heading into UCF. And a big notable name that I did not mention was Mackenzie Milton. He is the quarterbacks coach for the UCF Knights. Mackenzie Milton played under Scott Frost at UCF, and he had devastating leg injuries. Then he eventually transferred to Florida State and played as a graduate transfer there. He was a solid quarterback in college. He is the quarterbacks coach under Scott Frost now at UCF. So it's going to be interesting to see how the quarterbacks are going to do, because that is an outlook for me as well. I'm curious about UCF and how this is going to work out in his second stint as head football coach for the Knights. So, without any further ado, let's start with our spring outlooks before we go to Colorado and before we conclude today's episode with our, idea that Deion Sanders had and Coach Prime has. So, UCF, number one outlook for UCF and for Scott Frost. Number one, what is the quarterback competition gonna look like? So, I'm curious about that. You have excuse me, as I go to the quarterbacks here, you got Dylan Rizik. You got him, redshirt sophomore. He is there. You got Jakari Brown out of Valdosta, Georgia. He transferred from Miami out of Lowndes County, Georgia, in Valdosta. Jakari Brown, quarterback there. You have Cam Fancher, 200 pounds, redshirt senior out of FAU. He is there. It's going to be interesting to see the quarterback competition there. There's one name that I want to mention, and if I can find him, there we go. Taven Jackson out of Indiana. That's a name that we can talk about in the quarterback competition for this spring. Who's going to take that leap? You got guys like Taven Green out of Indiana who transferred in. Quarterback, 6'4", 212 pounds, redshirt junior out of Indiana. Taven Jackson now there. You got guys like Dylan Rizik. You got guys like Jakari Brown, Cam Fancher. Who's going to take that leap in the quarterback competition for Scott Frost and UCF? Who's going to look there? Who's going to replace KJ Jefferson, who is now gone? What's it going to look like there? But I'm curious to see about UCF's quarterback competition and who's going to take that leap in Scott Frost's eyes and Mackenzie Milton's eyes at UCF. So that's number one and what I want to see out of UCF. Number two, the foundation and the scheme under Alex Grinch, first-year defensive coordinator for UCF. What's the defense going to look like, and how's the foundation going to be set firm in this spring heading into the 2025 season? Alex Grinch had a lot of trouble in at USC in the Big Ten, and he in the later years of the Pac-12, he had trouble at USC. He had a little bit of trouble late in Oklahoma, but not like he did at USC. What's he going to do as a defensive coordinator at UCF? Can the defense be a little bit more physical? Can he have a firm foundation set and a physical and mentally strong foundation set and schematic set? Really, just firm and strong and well enough to be a defense to be feared in the Big 12. What's it going to look like for Alex Grinch with that defense, and how's he going to set the foundation for that defense in year one as the new defensive coordinator for UCF? So that's number 2 and what I want to see for the Knights there. Number 3, and last but not least, Scott Frost. What's the foundation going to look like under year one as now in his year one in his second stint as UCF's head coach? He is entering his second stint, year one of his second stint as UCF's head coach. What's the foundation going to look like? Is it going to be different than from his first stint? What's it going to look like heading in? Because he is UCF's coach and he's used to being at UCF and he knows what it's like and what it takes to win there. But it's in the Big 12. It's not the American Conference. So what's the foundation going to look like, and how's that change going to be in effect in the spring and entering the 2025 college football season? So that's what I want to see out of UCF and their spring outlooks, and that's my spring outlooks on UCF. Number 1, what's the quarterback competition going to look like, and who replaces KJ Jefferson there and takes that leap in the quarterback battle? Number 2, what's the foundation going to look like under Alex Grinch's defense in year one as UCF defensive coordinator? And then number 3, what's Scott Frost going to look like in his second stint and in year one in his second stint, and how it's going to look foundation-wise heading into the spring in the 2025 season? So that's my spring outlooks on UCF and what I want to see out of them this spring heading into the 2025 season. Their spring practice concludes April 19th, and we will have results on UCF as well in the next few weeks. Last but not least, Colorado. Of course, I want to do a spring outlook on Colorado and Coach Prime because it is interesting. They were hyped going into last year, trying to win a big. They were one of the finalists to try to clinch a berth in the Big 12 title game. They did not. They ended up suffering a huge defeat in the Alamo Bowl against BYU in conference team. A lot of rules that happened there to where old members of the Pac-12 had to be in the Alamo Bowl, and Colorado was one of the old members of the Pac-12. So there you go there. But no Shadur Sanders, no Travis Hunter. They are both off to the NFL. No Will Shepherd. You got a lot of guys that are gone off this team. So there's a lot. It's a younger team, and the quarterback presence has a veteran mindset and a young mindset, and that is one of the things that we're going to talk about here entering the 2025 spring for Coach Prime. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen there, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this Colorado Buffaloes team if they can take that next step as well here in the spring outlook. So number 1, and let's just kick it off there for spring outlooks for Colorado. Number 1, what's the quarterback competition going to look like, and who's going to take that leap, and who's in the lead currently right now? You got 2 quarterbacks there, Liberty transfer, Caden Salter, graduate transfer. He most likely will have the upper hand in terms of experience, and he could be that next guy for 1 year until the other quarterback who's in the competition, Julian Lewis, is ready to go. Julian Lewis, a solid true freshman quarterback. He flipped, I think he was a Georgia commit. He flipped from there to Colorado. He is at Colorado now, and he is a solid quarterback prospect there, and he is probably the future of that Colorado program under Coach Prime. Caden Salter and Julian Lewis, what's the progression looking in the competition there looking like? Who's going to take that leap in the QB battle this spring? That's number 1, and what I want to see out of Colorado there at number 1. Number two, and what I want to see is what's the cornerbacks going to look like, and what's the secondary going to look like? Transferring from Oklahoma State is DJ McKinney at cornerback. At defensive back, I want to see what the secondary is going to look like for Colorado. He could be that guy. Ranked 4th in the Big 12 for both pass deflections and passes defended. This is according to the Buffalo's Wire site. All credit goes to them for that stat. And he is a guy that could be, or really, honestly, the main dude on defense for this Colorado Buffaloes team. I want to see what he's going to look like on the defensive side of things and who else is going to step up in that secondary. So that's number 2 and what I want to see out of Colorado there. Number 3, what's the offensive line going to look like? I think they had trouble with the offensive line a lot last year. I want to see if the offensive line is going to be bolstered up any and can protect Caden Salter or Julian Lewis, whoever starts at quarterback for this team. Can the offensive line step up and make some immediate noise in this spring, and can it be a lot more bolstered up than it was last season? That's what I want to see out of the third thing I want to see out of the spring outlook, or for our spring outlooks, and what we want to see out of spring for Colorado. So that's what we want to see out of the spring, and that's what our outlook on Colorado football is for spring. Our spring outlook on Colorado is, and what we want to see. Number one, who is going to be and take that leap in the starting quarterback competition? Is it going to be Caden Salter or Julian Lewis? Number two, who's going to step up in the secondary? Is it going to be DJ McKinney or some more depth behind the secondary? And what's that going to look like? And what's the secondary going to look like in the spring? Number three, last but not least, what's the offensive line going to look like? Are they going to be more bolstered up and better well-suited heading into the 2025 season and this spring? That's what I want to see out of Colorado and what I want to see from them. Their spring game, because they are having a spring game. A lot of them are having either a spring game or not having a spring game. This one is a for sure spring football game. Spring game is on April 19th. Head coach, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, offensive coordinator, Pat Shermer, and defensive coordinator, Robert Livingston, all returning for the 2025 season. And that is the staff for Colorado. That is what I want to see there. And here is that's our spring outlooks for all teams. We are going to have more spring outlooks Tuesday, and that is all of our spring outlooks. That's our spring outlooks for Arizona State, BYU, UCF, and Colorado. Before we conclude today's episode of Pigskin Frenzy, let's talk about Coach Prime's idea before we conclude, and I'll give you my quick thoughts on everything there. Number one, I don't know if you saw the presser, but Coach Prime said, yes, we are going to have a spring game, and it's going to be televised. He's not shying away from the spring portal and tampering and all that stuff. He's not shying away from all that. He's got an idea to make spring games relevant again and not die off. And he thinks that the future of spring games is not in good hands. They're dying off. So here is what he proposed. He proposed for teams to have it can be media, it can be televised and have good media deals and media behind this. Do what the pros do and have a professional approach to it. Get another college football team and have a joint spring scrimmage just like NFL teams do at training camp during the preseason before the regular season starts in September. Have that happen and have them do a joint spring game, right, in the spring. Colorado has already filed paperwork on it, and so has Syracuse and head coach Fran Brown. They are willing to step up and go to Boulder and do a joint spring practice with them and a joint spring game with Colorado. That's news there. They've already filed paperwork for it. I don't know if it's going to go through or not. We will see, but that's all news there. Between Colorado and Syracuse. We'll have more updates on that on X and or Instagram, and we will post it. So keep following at Pigskin_Frenzy on X and Instagram for more news and highlights from across college football and up-to-date and joint practices between the Colorado and Syracuse situation there. So make sure you're following on X at Pigskin_Frenzy. So here are my thoughts on everything before we conclude today's episode of Pigskin Frenzy. Here's my thoughts. Number one, I think it's a great idea. Honestly, because college football is turning more into a semi-pro approach, so why not have that, right? And if it's turning into a more semi-pro approach, do what the pros do. Have them both go at it in the spring and have a light, fun joint practice and spring game and make it entertaining. That's number one. It helps the schools out in that way in terms of money and media deals. And number two, it helps the media deals like ESPN and Big 12 Network and whatever, whatever network that it's going to be on. It helps media deal-wise, and it brings in revenue for all sides. That's number two, and that's what I like about it as well. The tampering and the transfer portal issue, I think that it's not going to be that. I mean, I think it could be a big issue in terms of that. But if you think about it in terms of money and media deal there and taking it from a professional standpoint, because college football is turning into a semi-pro route, then why not do that? So I agree with the idea. I think it's a fun idea. It's something that's not been done before. I want to kind of see history be made in that sense, and I want to see if they can pull it off with the Syracuse and Colorado joint spring scrimmage. That's what I think, and that's what I would like to see out of the future of spring football games in general. So that's my thoughts on everything. Let me guys know what you guys think in the comments on YouTube, X, and Instagram. I'm pretty sure I'll post a clip on it as well there. So that's my thoughts on the future of spring football games. Guys, we are out of time. A big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage and some spring football coverage and spring outlooks presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X on Instagram at Pigskin_Frenzy. Follow up the pages there. You're going to get news and highlights from across college football. You're going to get trivia posts on Instagram stories. Go and answer today's college football question. You're also going to get all things up to date, episode updates, and exclusive content from Pigskin Frenzy on Instagram as well. Both channels are at Pigskin_Frenzy. Follow and like both pages. There's the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Make sure you're checking out the website there for all things up to date regularly on Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage and spring football coverage presented by me. Guys, love you all. We will be back Tuesday with some more spring outlooks, some more spring football coverage with episode 210 of Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, we have all SEC on tap coming up. We got Georgia, Texas A&M, Texas, and Oklahoma in their spring practices and spring football coverage. We're going to give our spring outlooks on Georgia, Texas A&M, Texas, and Oklahoma. This coming up Tuesday on Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, enjoy this weekend. We love you all. I'm Joel North signing off. We're praying for you all. We couldn't do this show without the Lord Jesus, and we're so thankful for the platform that he has given us here to do this show. And if you want to come to know Jesus, contact us on X, Instagram at Pigskin_Frenzy, as well as the website www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. We will gladly introduce you to our Lord Jesus Christ, because without him, we wouldn't be doing this show and we wouldn't have the platform to do this and talk about college football. So we are so thankful for all you guys, 4,600 listeners as well. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for tuning into each and every Tuesday and Thursday and plug it into Pigskin Frenzy. Make sure you're plugging into all platforms on audio, YouTube, and socials. Guys, we love you and we're praying for you all. We praise him for everything that he has done. We love you. As always, stay the course.